All right, I'm back. I see some audio on the meter here. Sorry to anyone who was just here and I had my microphone plugged in but messed something up in the settings. This is all a learning experience. I've dedicated my life to building this YouTube channel. But there's a lot to this. There's a lot of lessons to learn. There's going to be a lot of little mistakes to make. But I'm here to just say thank you to everyone who has recently found me and tuned into my channel. Um, I'm a video producer by trade. I love telling stories, but this is organically finding a direction of its own. Now, I'm going to bring this just a little closer to myself here, show you around Port San Luis outside here on the Central Coast in California. I've been spending most of my time out on the beach and the sand dunes, but in the mornings it's really pretty foggy and cloudy most days. And this area, Avila Beach, it's called the Hole in the Sky. There's for some reason there's always sun coming through here when there's fog and clouds everywhere else. So I like a change of scenery. Last night I spent the night up on my old mountaintop digs. So check out some of my previous content, the Adventures of Mike G playlist that's got the mountaintop that I stayed on. But today, guys, I want to talk to you about something that I've been working with my whole life. Um, Something I've been pursuing, something that I feel like I've been lost. I'm trying to understand a calling I've had, and that is really finding my true authentic self, or for you, finding your true authentic self. We live in this society that, we're basically it's like we're a puzzle piece. And if you don't fit right into the place it goes, society's just going to keep trying to smash us into that same exact mold, regardless of how much we don't fit into that. Everything's mirrored here, so my hair's sticking out on the wrong side. And one of the most important things I'm starting to realize is, we really do get trapped in, fairly early on when we're small. It's, hey, what do you dream about? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? Like, and the people around us, they cultivate creativity. They cultivate, oh, I want to be a pilot, an artist. I want to do amazing things, big things. And then, by the time we get towards the end of high school, there's, okay, well, how are you going to trade your hours for dollars? What's the title you're going to, what are you going to commit your entire self and future to? And we get trapped into debt. We get trapped into all these things that take us away from really pursuing who we're supposed to be, who we're supposed to become. And I think a lot of us, we're meant to do something different, to be something different than what we end up trading hours for dollars for. And the system's tricky. They get us into debt quick. Either coming out of high school, boy, you want a cool car, you've got a nice job, you can get a car. I went through university, I came out with student loans. You're already in debt. Well, hey, you need a house, so you're going to pay rent. Well, you might as well get a mortgage. That way you're not throwing away all your rent money. And we get locked in before you know it. 5, 10, 20 years has passed, and we're nothing like our heart has meant for us to be. Our only purpose is survival, is our mortgage, and maybe we have family. But for at least a handful of us, there's this deep calling. There's something different. There's something more that doesn't just fit into the mold. It doesn't fit into the shape of that puzzle piece that society is so hard trying to smash us into, to make sure that we just keep the system working, that we're all little batteries in the matrix, that we're out there helping somebody else basically mark up our time, sell our lives for profit. And I know that for me, over time, I went to university to become a video producer. I went out, I did that, moved out to the West Coast, was successful, got a bunch of awards and stuff. 6 months into that career that I ended up, spending 7 years chasing through college, through jobs and everything, get there. And within 6 months, I'm like, this is horrible. This is miserable. This is not what I want to do. And this was the moment when I realized that I began using alcohol as my escape from a life that did not fit me. And I see that it's so easy for us to be sent in a wrong direction and then need to escape from that through vices, through things like drugs and alcohol. That's not the only vice, that was the direction I went. And the farther you get down that path, the more you get into debt, the more you get into escaping, the harder it is to break free from that. And, for me, I've been on the road now for 10 months, and I'm just now really starting to be able to quantify and put this into words that this was the reason that I had developed my issue with alcohol, was that I was always, since I was young, sent in a direction that didn't fit me, coming from a family full of multiple generations of educators who literally could not comprehend anything outside of the idea of life having a curriculum, having directions, having somebody that needs to tell you what to do, when and how to do it. And, I sure I was a pretty good employee, but I hated it and I hated myself for it. and and I ended up making myself fat and drunk and then trying to escape in multiple ways, and it didn't work out. So I've started to find, this is why the live videos make me a little nervous, because I have troubles keeping my thoughts together. I'm getting better at this. So, I start to quantify and realize that this was really the cause of my challenges that I had in life, was that I've been going down a wrong direction ever since I got out of high school, and I've been preparing for a wrong direction in high school. That's the point I was going to make. Yeah, I was a good employee. I mean, I work hard. I'm reliable. But man, now that I'm out here on my own, I've given up everything. I've given everything away. I live this super simple, modest life. There isn't a second of my day when I'm awake that I'm not working. I'm still doing my part-time beach job because I didn't want to give that up. That's fun. It is extra money anyways. So I'm working out, I'm working on my freelance, which is my main full-time thing. Oh, I'm working on my YouTube channel. I don't watch TV. I don't play video games. I don't drink. I don't eat out. I never eat out. I don't waste any money on that because money is time. Time is valuable. I've got a purpose in this life. There are people out there who I will be able to help influence to move their life in a better direction, to be able to get over their vices, to be able to get fit, to be able to find their true authentic self, that they're excited to get up early every morning to pursue everything that that person has to offer to themselves and to the world and to their family, and not just having to wake up again and go and do this supposed job that you supposedly love and you tell yourself you love, when honestly deep down you hate it. They say, do what you love, never work a day in your life. Well, I was a professional downhill mountain bike coach. Hey, Mike, good morning and afternoon. Thank you, I appreciate that. So I was a downhill mountain bike coach in one of the top three downhill mountain bike parks in America. I was literally just catching air, riding bikes 7 hours a day. It was really cool, but it was still a job. I was still just selling hours for dollars. I had somebody else telling me what my life was worth, what my value was. Um, I drove the Google Street View car. That was awesome. I got to explore. I got to have a lot of fun. Again, I'm clocking hours. Somebody else is telling me what my value is, and I've got a ceiling to what I can contribute to the world. Um, I was on a division of ski patrol. I've been a bartender. I've worked in cannabis. I've done so many things that were just super cool and super fun, but I still wasn't pursuing my purpose. I still wasn't free. I still wasn't able to to just go out and be my true self. And I haven't made it yet. My videos are starting to get some traction, and I'm finding that people are interested in this message of, seeking more purpose, removing things from our lives that don't matter. Um, because so much of our lives are spent pursuing objects, trading hours for dollars to go out to eat, to have a bigger house than we need, have a newer, fancier vehicle than we need, and all of that time, all of that energy, it can all provide a value, to this world, to our purpose. But it's really hard to find your purpose because our whole lives we're being told, okay, figure out what you're going to do, figure out how you're going to sell your time for hours for dollars. And then and then we've got all these crazy marketing forces and everything telling us, oh well, we need this car to be happy, we need this big house to be happy. We've got to be in the relationship, we have to have kids, we have to have the mortgage to support the family. And I'm 42. I've never had a desire to have kids. I was married for 5 years. I thought about it. I'm not saying it's wrong to have kids. I'm not saying it's wrong for you to desire it, but I think it's a bad idea to go out and try to have kids because that's what you're supposed to do. Then you really get locked into to following a path for a long time that maybe doesn't fit you. And I appreciate I've got another hope all is well today. And I appreciate you guys. Anybody wants to throw a comment down here, I'm going to do the best I can to respond. But I'm starting to find that I do have a message that resonates with people, and a big part of my long-term mission now I've found is going to be to help people get sober and fit. And I think my message is probably best fit for lost and divorced men who have gone through breakups, who have maybe lost a job or their mortgage due to a loss of a job, and help people get on the right track. Because I can tell you, I'm a little over 300 days since my last drink, and this life of fitness has become just an obsession. And I think it's been unhealthy at times. I've hurt myself. I'm still fighting some tendonitis. I've overdone it, but these things, they've started to help me understand more of who I am, what I can do for the world, and to feel joy versus pleasure. Pleasure, temporary, instant gratification is what we get from alcohol, we get from buying objects, you know, and there's the feeling of joy is that contentment in the morning when you wake up and you're happy, you're excited for your day. At the end of the night, you sleep well because you're you're doing what you're supposed to do with your life. I see another comment here, so I see what we're saying. Good stuff, Mike. I keep trying to remind myself that life isn't about the destination; it's about the journey. And that is 100% true. It's still something that I'm discovering. I've, of course, wanted to be to the next place so long. I've wanted to have more followers on here. I've wanted to be in better shape. I've wanted to have more objects, whatever. And then you start realizing, well, it's not the pursuit of the object. It's not the pursuit of the outcome that's going to get us there. It's the pursuit of the individual. It's the pursuit of the life. It's the pursuit of our, the things that mean the most to us. The individual that I believe in is fit, is sober, is dedicated to true purpose. And if I stay on that track to always be sober, to always be fit, to always pursue who I am, to always keep creating content, everything else will start to fall into place. But if I need to have this many followers, or I have to have this cool overlanding rig, or I've got to achieve this or that, or I've got to be this level of buff or lean or strong by this certain time, then you get away from all these habits that build us, and you start to get into chasing the end result, and that I think can send us down a very negative path. So one of the biggest lessons that I have learned, in this life and in the last few years and on the road, is to pursue the individual that you admire most within yourself. Pursue everything that I want for myself to show to myself when I look back, and that others will perceive that as well. And everything else will start to fall into place. And if I get focused on the end goal instead of the individual and of the journey and of the moment, then I'm not going to end up in the right place. Or if I do get there, I'm not going to be happy and fulfilled and content. So I see some more comments down here. I'm going to read into them real quick. I've been catching a few of your vids here and there for a while, and like throwing it on one of the it moved shorter positive perspective and intentionality ones in the mornings as I get myself ready. And there's even more there, and that's I really appreciate that. I've got some people I follow too, and I've got just two or three that I come back to almost every day that have helped me kind of find my mindset. And these guys are a little bit more of, kind of tough love in your face stuff, which is really what I needed, because I was not in a good place when this started. This is, here, I'm gonna check my clocks here. I think you guys might like this. I've been tracking a few important things in my life here, and I've got a pretty big important video coming up in a few days. So we've got here 994 days since my fitness and nutrition life started. 61 days no weed, 311 no booze, 293 on the road. So those are some really important days, and I will be making a video on day 1000 with my update that'll show my before and after, maybe talk a little bit more about the journey. That was the day that I thought the divorce papers had gotten filed, and was the day I stepped into the gym, and I made this extremely deep commitment to myself. I was like, I'm never stopping. I'm never going to stop. This is what I'm doing. And it took me a couple years to stop drinking. It took, I get teary-eyed, think even bringing up alcohol, because it's literally consuming self-loathing. It was for me. I want to be able to help people catch that and stop that. The fitness, the gym, that's everything. There's nothing toxic about it. You see all these memes on bodybuilders and stuff, and man, I've seen nothing but healthy, good people in there. I see people that are making positive changes. So, I think if we can start to all focus on finding our true, authentic self, and that might take years. It doesn't come overnight for a lot of us, because all of these forces in the world are pulling us away from that. But when you find that, you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to trade hours for dollars on anything that doesn't go towards your purpose. And the biggest barriers that I find for, I think, anyone between them and their purpose are consumption of vices, alcohol, unhealthy foods, and being and not being fit. I think having a true deep commitment to fitness helps every single other thing in your entire life. So I'm going to cut down here and read a few more comments here, do the best I can. I'm a little bit of a slow reader, which is one of the reasons I think it's so amazing I somehow made it through university. I never gave myself credit. I always felt like I was just stupid, but I did something I wasn't supposed to, and I made it through it. So let's see. I've got somebody here. You've been sober for 15 years, man. That's amazing. I'm not even quite on my first year, but I'm so excited to be on this journey now. What of you? Love the talk yesterday. Thank you guys. Pretty impressive. Love those numbers, man. I don't know what you looked like previously, but your skin and everything looks clear, man. I super appreciate that, and it's because I've removed and eliminated ingesting anything bad. I consume a lot of sugar-free Greek yogurt. It's amazing. It's low calorie, high protein, super good for you, good for your digestive. They got a few pics. I'm definitely going to bring some before and after pictures up on that. For those that just tuned in, I'm 6 days away from 1,000 days of fitness. So I'm going to show you some before and after. It's funny. I haven't weighed in, not even once since I've been on the road. I have no idea what I weigh. I'm guessing around 160. I'm 6 feet tall. I was about probably 205 at the time, 220 at my worst. And it was just, I lived this extremely active life. I lived up in and around Breckenridge, Colorado for 7 years. I was always active outdoor jobs, but it's a party town. I was stuffing my face with food. I was drinking every single day. And you can you can't outrun a bad diet when you're even though I was on the mountain, downhill mountain bike coaching 7 hours a day, riding that bicycle. That was hard work. But then I'd come and stuff my face full of pizza and beer. And so, all right, a couple more comments here. Yeah, underappreciating our bodies and our health. That's our greatest gifts. Literally, are our bodies, our fitness, and our environment that we're in. And yes, I am living in a V8 right now. I do burn some gas. Don't really have other options. Got my solar panel outside. But a much larger amount of our pollution actually comes from HVAC and housing and businesses and everything. And my big dream is to be off grid. I'm looking at land that I could afford to buy with cash by the end of the year. There are some nuances and things to figure out, but I genuinely want to eliminate packaging. I feel there's a deep sense in my conscience every time I buy something that has packaging that's going to be thrown away too. That's, that one's pretty rough on me. I even, when I was coming back after the divorce, I got dedicated to fitness. I took a part-time job stocking groceries just so I could keep my schedule full. And I was in the gym over 3 days a week, 3 hours a day, 7 days a week, which I don't think that's probably really healthy or good. I caused some problems for myself that way. But just watching the sheer amount of garbage that goes through there, and it's not just the trash, it's all the resources that go to create that trash and all the carbon and all the time and energy of people's lives they spend trading just to take all these natural resources from this beautiful planet, turn them into trash, and package unhealthy food for people to stuff their faces with while they're watching TV, escaping from the lives that they haven't been able to find their purpose with. I feel like there wasn't such a thing as depression back in the day when people were fighting just to get by, when people were living out on the, or in Native American times and tribal times. I feel like depression wasn't a thing. People had to go out, they had to hunt, they had to live, they had to survive. They didn't have spare time on their hands. They didn't have all this comfort. They didn't have all these distractions, you know, and I feel like depression is, in many cases, it's because we have a lack of purpose. It's because we have too many comforts, too many distractions. And if we just had something meaningful to do with our time and our energy, that we truly felt good about the outcome, we would experience so much less depression. So I'm going to jump over here to a few more comments. Now, let's see. So I've been buying land in Arizona and in Mexico. And yeah, I went through a divorce. Also, it was the beginning of my sobriety 15 years ago. Now my life is much better, doing all the things I always wanted. There we go. And, I think for many of us, multiple 3, 4, 5 divorces, there's something else going on. Maybe I'll get married one more time, but I think we do get a chance to learn and reset after the first one, because marriage is another one of those things, square peg, round hole, society slamming us as a puzzle piece into the wrong piece of the puzzle. And a lot of us get married when we shouldn't. We get married to the wrong person for the wrong reasons at the wrong time. And then we get to learn, we get to come out, we get to be so much better on the other side of it. I don't regret my marriage or my divorce. I had a good time. I lived in a ski town. There were no women up there. My wife was beautiful, young. We had a lot of fun, and things didn't work. And I'm not mad. I don't hold any contempt, so I'm grateful. Oh, looks like we're getting low on battery. Good thing I got the solar panel. And I got to turn on AC power. Hang on, guys. I'm going to be back in just a couple seconds. I love having everything I need to get by here. Let me turn on my power. Give it a few seconds. We should click on. Boom. There we go. Okay, I'm not going to go to sleep. I can keep talking to you. Oh, so let's see. Okay, yeah. So, I've also thought about Arizona as a place for land. I was looking in Colorado. I know that there's some challenges and nuances in California. The land I'm looking at is a few hours, half a day drive from San Francisco, half a day drive from LA. And my mission of helping men get sober and fit, helping people get bounce back from hard times, it's in a really accessible area. So if I do get that land out there, I'm probably not going to build a big nice house. I'm going to do something very basic. I'll probably have something to park this or my next version of my next overland camper in when I get there. But yes, owning land, being off grid, it just, the idea of a 30-year mortgage, trading hours for dollars to pay mostly interest. Many of you probably know about this fractional reserve banking, where the bank only has to have $1 out of every $10 they loan. So they create 9 out of $10 out of thin air, but yet we trade a huge portion of our lives to pay that interest. There's a different way. People, until recently, everybody built their homes. Whether it was on their own or through communities. And I am so willing to live a much more modest life to be able to build a home with sweat equity. I'm looking at what's called casitas. They're basically an oversized shed or a small barn. It's just a shell. They bring it in, they drop it off, and then I'm going to finish the inside out myself. I don't have a background in construction, but I'm still going to figure it out. It's not going to stop me. I'm going to learn lessons. So, getting away from the idea that the only thing we can do is trade hours for dollars, and the only way to avoid throwing money away on rent as a mortgage, to me, is a very freeing idea. And someday maybe I'll be in a position where I can use mortgages and cash flow to help work on rentals, to create and develop some wealth that way. So let's jump back over here to some comments, guys. I really appreciate you guys all tuning in and interacting. It's this is just kind of the beginning. This last video got some traction, and it means a lot that I'm able to get started. I'm able to craft this message that I think has more meaning than just me showing off on my crazy adventures. I do want to share some of them, but there's meaning to all this. So let's come over here. Back to my comments. Okay, question the answers. One of my old school guys, been here since the very beginning. Congrats on the hard work and growth. I really appreciate it, man. I'm glad you've been here with me since the beginning. It means a lot. You're only 60 pounds lighter than me. Good job. Thanks, man. Jimbo, I'm going to Pismo today. I'm about 10 minutes away. I love the Central Coast. Yeah, this is an awesome spot. I grew up going to the sand dunes, riding ATVs, doing a lot of off-roading, and finding this cool place. I had a video I bought in an AutoZone when I was little that had Pismo Beach on it, and I was aware of it. This was serendipity. This was some destiny, maybe some divine intervention that brought me here. And I think I'm about to wrap up this portion of the journey at the end of September. I've got some really big things happening in my life with a client back home, and I need to go spend a little time there. But I had to get out and do this. I had to get my mind right. I had to get sober. I had to find my purpose. And, I've achieved all of those goals, but this is just the very beginning of the very beginning. And, I hope those of you that are following me are finding inspiration. Maybe some of you are farther along on a path like this than I am, but I just hope that you're all inspired to find your most authentic versions of yourselves and really find that healthy, true, sober, fit person. Sorry, I've got Akabi. I don't know how to say it. You've got your characters there are awesome, but let's see. I'm in my 30s, battled various addictions since about 15. Had up to like 1 or 2 years 100% sober in the rooms and everything a couple times, but after a few serious health issues and 2 NDEs, I had a. Sorry for the long message. No need to reply. Okay. Well, man, I'm with you. When we go through rough times. I've been a little bit. I've thought about this. I've talked to people that have been sober for an extended period of time and fell off, and I feel it so deeply that this is such a core part of my belonging of Delta KB. I got you. This is such a core part of my personality. I'm not seeking an escape through alcohol anymore, and I have this deep feeling like I'm going to make it and I'm never going to go back. But I can't tell you what the future is going to be like. I have a feeling if I did start drinking, by the second or third time I did, it would be like I didn't miss a day. Like I sat down, I got to just sit down and go right back into the old thing, even if I had not drank for a really long time. So, you know, part of maintaining my sobriety is being able to get this message out and help encourage and influence others. You know, if this is not only my character, but I want to develop this into my livelihood, into being able to find a way to very ethically help other people's other people on a real path pursuing this sobriety and fitness. And that's why this land is so exciting to me, because I would love to be able to bring people out to do masterminds, to do campouts, to where we all come together and help learn from each other and experience a more simple version of life for a short amount of time, and help figure out some of the things that really matter while pursuing sobriety and fitness. Um, so, hey, always a pleasure, bro. From question the answers. Thanks again. Thanks again. So, I'm. This is kind of exciting. I know I've only got 6 of you live right now, but nonetheless, it means a lot to me. So I usually, when I come on these lives, I try to get a bit more of a message out, but because we're engaging and interacting, I've maybe lost a bit of my message. What was that? Oh, I thought that van back there was my buddy Terry. That boy reminds me. There was a moment a couple months ago where I was broken down, man. It was just a stretch of one little thing after another after another. It was a broken phone screen, and then I drove off with my solar panel attached, and then just I can't even. None of these things really mattered. They were all kind of small, but they just didn't stop hitting me, no matter what. And the crazy thing was, it all happened right after I got a little too ecstatic, a little too excited. I was feeling just a little bit too good about everything. And then boom, I got put right back in my place real quick. And that is definitely one of the things I've been learned along this is, there's a balance. If we get too high, if things go too good, if we get too full of ourselves, the universe is going to snap us back into place real quick. If things get too low for too long, if you just keep pushing through, they're going to balance out. And I think either way, trying to maintain some composure, some faith in myself, faith in the universe, faith in God, faith in whatever you believe in, and just keep moving forward, maintaining your character and continuing on the path that you're supposed to be on, things are going to work out. It's when we get overly ecstatic that we get brought back to reality, or when things get too low. That's the option. That's the time when we can bail out, when we don't have to stick with our character and our sobriety, but we choose to, and that makes us stronger. We don't have to keep pursuing our path of true meaning and purpose and what we feel deeply, but we can. And I can tell you, I'm a heck of a lot stronger and more resilient than I was a year ago. Definitely a lot more than 994 days ago when I stepped into the gym and when I began pursuing this better version of myself. But I also know that every time I make progress and I level up, I'm going to be confronted with new challenges where I have to develop new strengths. New levels, new devils is a thing I've heard. And I've got a big vision for myself and a big vision for the world. And I'm starting to re-find that childlike. There was this thing when I was little. I didn't see anything other than what I imagined, and I used to manifest. I used to bring things to reality, and this can't happen into my 20s. If you look through my videos, I was always big into motorcycles. My family was against it because rightfully so. They wanted to keep their baby alive and well. And I got into motocross against their will, and I was breaking both my legs, and I did crazy things. And then I got into street bikes, and not any street bikes. I went and got myself the fastest street bikes. And by the time I got into college, I had taught myself how to legitimately stunt ride way before bike life was a thing. I was out hanging out with the 3-time world champion stunt rider. I was doing things on a motorcycle that was way too big and heavy to even be doing stunts on a big 1000cc V-twin bike. And I even somehow ended up with a few shots of myself in a DVD in Walmart and Best Buy and stuff. You know, it was something because I hadn't yet accepted that the world, when the world says you can't do things, you're not supposed to do things, that actually applied to me. And I think it was, I spent 9 years also on my first business. Throughout my career, as college started, I came home, I worked on that business for a long time, and it blew up in my face, and I lost everything, and I lost faith in myself. And that's when I went off to the ski slopes. My credit was ruined. I was like, well, I might as well just go enjoy life. So I went and I spent 7 years out in a ski town, just enjoying life. But throughout that process, I lost faith in myself, and I've recently refound that. I know that I'm going to do amazing things, and the journey, like we were talking about, like one of my followers here brought up before, to enjoy the journey, because yesterday is a history. Right? It's Dr. Seuss. Listen to me get emotional. Yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, and today's a present. Today's a gift. That's why it's the present. Today's all that matters. Keep with our character. Never break character. Never give up on sobriety. Never give up on the individual we're pursuing. And as I keep pursuing that individual, I know that I'm going to end up doing wonderful things for this world. And I know that you can too. And that individual, the best version of that individual for every single person, is sober and they're fit. And it's not easy to get there for some of us. But it is, you will learn that you can do anything you want when you can do that. So I'm going to jump back to comments. Gosh, it's obnoxious. I get so emotional. So, all right. Let's see. Voodoo says, keep it up, dude. Subbed a few weeks ago. I'm almost 30. No real purpose. Would love to travel, but I'm working a cubicle job. Addicted to junk food. Paycheck to paycheck. You are one of the people that I want to help inspire the most. And I might have already said it on this podcast, but once you find your vision, you have to make it your priority. The priority has to come, and here is the key to everything. Other than sobriety and fitness, our time is our capacity. That is what will get us where we want to go. And most of us, we have to survive. We have to pay rent. We have to feed ourselves. So part of this whole mission I'm doing is, how do I create capacity to focus my time and energy on what matters the most? Well, I had to eliminate mortgage and rent. I didn't have a mortgage. I had to eliminate rent. I had to eliminate eating out and entertainment. I had to eliminate trading hours for dollars for objects that had no purpose. And if you look back in my adventures of Mike G videos, you will see clothes that I have kept. I had to give some stuff away to the thrift that I'd had for 10 years. I was wearing ball caps that I had been wearing for 4 or 5. I finally realized, okay, my face is public. I can go ahead and upgrade and start to go to, I got this at Ross Dress for less, for $7. It looks fine. I still dress. I spend low amounts of money. My ball caps, I'll put them in my Amazon store. I will. They're less than $20. When they get beat up, I'll throw them out. But you have to create capacity for yourself. You have to find your vision and create capacity for yourself. Once you find your vision, once you know what you really want to do, create a deep commitment to that, and then understand that every time that you go out to eat, every time that you go to the bar, you're taking away from your purpose. You're costing your future. and one of my favorite influencers. I'm sure a lot of people have said this, but the cost of procrastination is the life that you could have had. Well, that's also the cost of wasting money because you're wasting your time. You're giving up your capacity that could go towards your purpose. So I can't necessarily help you find your purpose per se, but if you know there's something other than working a cubicle job that you really want, start to figure out, how am I going to create capacity to get to that point? And yeah, doing the van life thing is a great option for some people. Um, I I mean, I had cousins that they joined the Peace Corps for a few years. That I'm sure that gives you a really good amount of time to spend with yourself and gain some perspective on the world. But one of the biggest things is to create capacity, to not trade hours for dollars, and then use those dollars in ways that don't matter. And someday, Dave Ramsey, the Total Money Makeover guy, he says, live how others can't now so you can live how they can't later. And maybe you do want to have a really big, nice house or drive a Lamborghini or whatever it may be. You've got to be able to live without all those things, to separate yourself from all those desires and desire the individual that's going to be able to get you to that point. Desire the outcomes you want in life, or the path that you want in life more than the outcomes that you're trying to achieve. So when your purpose is to actually create that direction to be wherever you want to go, when that's your highest priority, you're going to get there as long as you can make that your priority and stop wasting your time, wasting your money on things that don't matter. So I know that was a pretty big ramble getting to that point, but I appreciate you jumping in on the comments here. So, hey, let's see, Delta KB, I appreciate you checking in. I know you got to go now. Thanks for coming back, guys. Thanks again for all of you that are checking in and out. I know everybody can't sit here the whole time. I didn't expect this to go that long. I'm really surprised that, that I've got people engaging here, because this video getting traction, this is a bit new to me. I've got a bunch I'm trying to put out. I've been trying to get more of my Adventures of Mike G, my adventure videos out. They're a true passion of mine. They don't get viewed. The algorithm hasn't picked those up. I hope some of you guys do check out that playlist. I think a lot of it does fit hand in hand. It starts with my journey when I was building this vehicle out, when I was still drinking at the very beginning of it, and it brings you up until about the time where I made it down to the beach. Those videos take a lot of time and creativity and passion to edit, and they don't get any traction. So that's gone on the back burner. I'll be back in my hometown around my client in a few months and really get focused on catching up on those. So until then, I want to try to interact and engage with my people who are following me and show some videos that don't take so darn much time and energy and passion to get out. So I've got a couple really good ones coming up here real soon. Hopefully I can get them cranked out within the next few days for you. So I'll check back over on the comments here. All right, Consumption Junction here says, well said. When I sit down and think, it blows my mind how much time is wasted on the past nonsense and things that don't matter in the grand scheme of things. It's a realization I've come to. It's a message that, boy, if I can get that message out to people, I know it'll change people's lives. And it's important that our time and energy and effort are going to things that matter to us personally. And truly, I think I don't know if every single person actually has a purpose. Some people, I think, are here to just float through life. They might not have the capacity to get much past that, but most of us, we do have a true purpose, and this purpose applies to all of us. The purpose is to serve humanity. Now, we all have dramatically different ways to do that. We have different skills, different capabilities, and a lot of things distracting us to try to get away. When we can find the most pure version of how do we serve humanity, and then how do my skills and my capabilities allow me to do that in my way, it sure makes feel it feels like I'm literally harming humanity if I give up my hours for dollars and then those dollars go to something else that doesn't matter, when those hours could be going to this. Because I know that in time, this will help. My message will help people. Those people will help more people. It's, the pay it forward thing. I help one person, helps three help nine help 27, and it's exponential. Because this world right now is so good at getting our energy into things that are not actionable, like politics, like the news. My degree is journalism. I've said this plenty of times. My degree is journalism. I avoid the news like I avoid alcohol. I've signed off of it. When it comes voting time, I'll get my mail-in ballot so I can do my research on each of the individuals throughout the list. I have no allegiance to either party. I don't believe that they're serving us or the greater good. I think they're serving themselves. So if I waste my money, I waste my time. And if I waste my time, I can't have the impact that I want. And I have this vision that I'm going to have a dramatic impact and help this world in amazing ways. I don't have any idea how that's going to be, how that's going to look in 5 or 10 years. Um, I'm just figuring this thing out. Everything along the way is. Let's see if I've got enough charge. I can turn that annoying fan off. All right, unplug it from power and get that fan back off. Everything along the way is. This is even a theme at the beginning. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out. And that's such a dramatically different, ideology than the way I grew up. Where everything is. We have a curriculum. We have directions to follow. We have people tell us what to do, when to do it, how to do it. And for me, I don't want to insult people who are doing things that they feel that matter as employable jobs. But I know for myself, I have a lot more to offer the world. I see things in such complex patterns and see how things connect together. And I have such this wide variety of skills for my background in video production and internet marketing and lead generation and communication. I see there's so many different pieces that even if I were to find a job or career where I got to utilize a portion of that to help the world, I have to also disregard a portion of that. And the most value that I can provide to the world is it comes when ads will run shortly. Wow, that's a new thing. I'm going to click skip ads. The most value that I can provide to the world is when I find the best ways to use all these different bits and pieces of skills that I've developed over the last couple of decades since I graduated university, and combined with the aptitudes that I've had since I was young, since I was born. So I'm going to jump back over to some more comments here. Let's see. I've got Jesse Dent. Not sure if it helps, but your video that first popped up on my feed was suggested after Mel Robbins' podcast episode. So here's the crazy thing. I'm not familiar with Mel Robbins, but I'm gonna make a note. I'm gonna make a note on my phone right now to check him out. That's the great thing about the world now. There's so many people out there that have great information for us, and even people who are informed and fairly sharp. And I try to be somewhat of those. There's so much out there, so much knowledge and perspective out there that it's impossible to know it all. So Mel Robbins, so I'm gonna look that up. See, brand new. I got me, myself, and I love that. I've been riding solo for the last 10 months, and I've one of my videos in my Adventures of Mike G playlist even talks about falling in love with myself. Me, myself, and I. That should be the first love of your life before anybody else, yourself. And if you always are focused on yourself, your self-development, and making sure to not get away from the focus on yourself, you'll always be the best version for everybody else. So let's see what me, myself, and I said. Brand new here. Found you a couple hours ago. Can I ask if you've always been a can-do overcomer? Have you had problems with depression, anxiety? Yes, Mel Robbins is great. She asked a woman, by the way. So I'll do another podcast on this more because I kind of hit this earlier. Yes, absolutely depression. I got off of antidepressants on this trip. My depression came because I was a square peg being forced into a round hole. And I've just finally accepted I'm not going to be what society tells me to anymore. Being sober, being fit, those are the keys to getting away from it and finding the true version of yourself. And these things are all not easy. Being fit is where I started. I went into Planet Fitness. I was defeated. I was embarrassed. I felt ridiculous being in there. I'd go over, I didn't know what I was doing, but I went and I didn't stop. I didn't stop. I went 7 days a week, 3, 4 hours a day. I'd work out so long. I didn't know what I was doing. And then I'd get on the elliptical. I'd be crying. And I didn't have any groups. I didn't go to church. I didn't have a Alcoholics Anonymous. I just did it on my own. I just went hard. So, yeah. Hey, email to get in touch with me. Easiest thing right off the top of my head. I have the same username on Instagram, which my Instagram's nothing. It doesn't have any followers yet, but find me at Book of Mike G over there. I'll set up an email that I think would be really great for all this right now. I've just got a business email working with my client and kind of a main private one. So yeah, Book of Mike G on Instagram is going to be probably the easiest way to interact with me one-on-one right now. And I'll set something up to where we can chat more. So Consumption Junction asks if I surf. So, I lived in a ski town for 7 years. I snowboarded for 30. I've, skated, longboarded. I've never surfed. And, it's crazy. The reason I haven't out here is, in all honesty, because I've been cold being out here on the Central Coast. I came out in the wintertime and it never really gets too warm out here. I'm getting a little chilly now. And I've only recently opened up more capacity. My freelance work fell through for a while and I had to stick with that beach job. I was out there too much and I was just in the cold elements all day, every day. So I need to get out and surf. I mean, that's one of those things that it's almost ridiculous that I haven't so far. I've got some friends that are surfboard chafers out here down in Ventura. So yeah, no, I need to get around and get to surfing for sure. Boudreaux says, got to head to work. Thanks for the wisdom. Any money wasted is time, just time wasted. Hey, take care. I appreciate you checking in, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let's see here. So do I have any I've missed? I'm sorry if I missed anybody here. I don't know why my power's still going in the back, but hey, I hope that fan's not too obnoxious for you guys. Learn some lessons along the way, and I'll keep doing more of these lives now that I know they're taking some traction and people want to chit chat here with me. Excuse me. It's been an unusually cool summer. Not normal around here. You live here, okay? Can't hear the fan at all. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. So, as the people to the east here are, it's 110, 115 degrees. They come out here and there's like, thank goodness, but I've spent a lot of time shivering in the last 10 months and it's kind of interesting. I work with a young kid. He seems like he can just have a t-shirt on almost all the time. And I come from the ski slope, so I'm used to having 4, 5, 6 layers available to me at all times. And I think, maybe my body never really built that resilience to cold because I was always bundled and layered up real well. So cool. Well, I feel like I'm starting to ramble a little bit. If anybody has any more questions or wants to interact a little more, I'm glad to answer that. And then I think I'm probably going to get on to getting a coffee. I've got to get a lot more work done for my client. I'm super excited. Here's something I'll put out a video about this soon. I kept moving forward on this. I am now in charge of a clothing line. I'm designing my own clothing line for the world's largest custom motorcycle manufacturer. How's that for crazy? Never thought that would come onto my my resume. So that's something that's going to launch here real soon. I've got 80,000 followers on. They've got 80,000 followers, over 30,000 bikes they've built, and I've somehow become the face of the company. Even though this has been in progress for 8 years, it's a very, very early development where I'm really stepping into this role, and that is what's at the moment allowing me the capacity to do all this. I mean, I work for these guys. I wake up, I work for them, I do a little content, I work for them more, I go to the gym, I work for them more, do a little content, I work for them more, and then I go to sleep and I repeat, or I go to the beach job on the weekends. But right now I'm in the middle of designing a clothing line. I'm building a whole new platform of online marketing and engagement, and that's a really cool thing. So I do have to get some coffee and get back to that, which fortunately, I had this vision of creating my office being these beautiful outdoor spaces, not sitting in a cubicle, and doing it out of a previously presidential motorcade SUV. So let's see. I'm going to get to a couple more comments here. Not rambling, you're sharing. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Keep that type of mind, buddy. Yeah, it's interesting. We all, as we create content, I've put a lot out there that people haven't seen, and I've just known that when it gets in front of the right people, it will resonate. And sometimes, man, it's painful the amount of passion I've put into the my adventures of Mike G videos, and then they get 100 views, and 50 of them are probably my friends. The other 50 are me trying to share them in places that they're not in front of the right people. So, even if I only get in front of a small handful of people that my message resonates with, it means an awful lot. And it's good to know that the things that I'm learning, the message that I have is something that can positively impact others. So it definitely means the world to me that you guys are following along on this, and I'll start doing these lives now that I know that people are here to interact. I'll start scheduling them. I'll start to learn a little more about the technical stuff. I don't know if anybody saw, I tried once with my podcast mic here, didn't work, had to shut down and start over. And it's kind of funny. You can't just click go live on YouTube. You have to set everything up, type everything in, set up your audio, set up which camera, all that stuff. So, hey, you know what? Before I get off, let's go outside for just a minute. Let me give you guys just a quick little tour of what's going on here for those that don't know the area. This is Port San Luis. There's actually quarter operated showers back here. There's multiple public restrooms. There's a pier with a restaurant, and there's a little convenience store with a coffee shop and another restaurant. It's a pretty cool spot, and it doesn't get blown out. So I used to spend a lot of time here when I was living up on the mountaintop. I need to start coming back here. Pismo Beach, where I'm currently at, I mean, it's just, a few miles down the road. So I'm going to take you guys outside for just a second. And then maybe you can kind of see the bit of the adventure limo here on the way back in. And if any of if this does look like a life that any of you would want to live, I just want to encourage you to make that your priority if that's your vision. And then recognize there's a lot of discomfort too. All right, so this is kind of hard for me to tell what you're looking at from the laptop. Everything's backwards. I've got my solar panel down here. I've got Wi-Fi running off the AC power in the back of my Suburban. And the beach down here, you can have your dog out here. So for me, when I'm doing creative things, I need to be in a space like this. I worked in a real fancy production studio. Oh, here, let's take a look at the limo today. It's not really a limousine limo, but I've got the whole build out video on my YouTube channel too. It was a wild vision making this thing happen. All right, so jump down to see if we have any more questions before I start wrapping up. And I don't know if you can tell the dust in the air. I was up camping on the mountaintop. I'm pretty dusty. All right. Consumption Junction says, thanks for being so authentic. I'm going to go back and watch and like as much of your content as I can today. I hope it helped. I really appreciate that. I've been trying to find my lane. I just had my first recent video that really got some traction. I had a documentary that had nothing to do with my channel. I produced with my brother. It had 43,000 hours of watch time, over 115,000 views, but it had nothing to do with anything on my channel. And I took that down. It wasn't close to my heart. It was something that he had wanted to do, and it's in other places. So I think now I'm starting to get a little traction. So there's some things that are all over the place because I was still trying to figure things out. But, you know, I know now that just my message of finding our authentic selves and being healthy, not breaking character, this is a message that will grow and resonate over time. Um, there's no shortage of people who need help getting themselves sober, getting themselves fit. And I know that there are a bunch of us that have this deep feeling that we belong in a different life than what we've been pushed into by the world we live in. So I want to continue this message because it's important. So what is my theme has been, it's the, my three words, the things that this is all about for me in my life: adventure, fitness, and freedom, creating a life of freedom. That's really, really important to me. Capacity is part of that freedom. Being out of debt is part of that freedom. Being able to be who I want to be without anyone telling me otherwise. And yes, I'll work from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, but doing it for myself, not because somebody else tells me to. Um, so adventure, fitness, and freedom. And then I feel like the thing that I can teach the most, that I can help people with the most right now, and this will evolve, is for men who have lost their path, who have been escaping through vices, to help them find their way to get sober and fit, and probably men who have been through or going through divorce and loss. Maybe this will evolve, but I know it's going to help people get sober and fit and find the true authentic version of themselves, because that true version of yourself is the most amazing thing when you find it. So jump over to a few more of these. Um, all right, let's see. I'll hit you up on Instagram. Great authentic live stream today. Love much, brother. Hey, thank you. Thank you again so very much. I appreciate you following along on the journey with me here. Man, your ride is so cool. Love it. Thank you. It took me over 2 years of searching to find this thing. Shipped it in sight unseen from Washington, D.C. It was HearstLimo.com is the website I found it on. HearstLimo.com. This guy was a wholesaler, so I couldn't even purchase it retail. I had to find a lender that had a dealer's license. Shipped it into Colorado. Had a first summer living in it when it wasn't quite like this. I did a makeshift fix up did 4 months in it then. Um, and so I had it for, I think I got this in 2018 or 2019, and I had been visualizing everything else I was going to do with it since then. And the whole build out video is on my channel. And, I've learned a lot more along this. There's definitely some things I would change. I've got a video coming up. I'll give you the spoiler now. I've got a weight set on the roof. I go and I work out on the beach, and I unboxed that. So I put a rack on my roof, and I've got an actual adjustable dumbbell set and a bench up on my roof. And that is going to be a big part of my content as things go too, because what's more inspirational than seeing somebody turning their life around, and then not just going to the gym, not just Planet Fitness, but saying, hey, I dream of doing this. I'm from Kansas. My family's in Kansas. My clients are in Kansas. I was in Colorado, but I dream of doing this on the side of the ocean, out on the mountaintops. And I brought it to fruition. But thanks for the compliments on the ride. This thing, right? It's my home, it's my office, it's my transportation. There's my videos, both my engine and transmission. I replaced them both this year. I couldn't afford it. Man, I can't even explain the hardships I've gone through. And the person that's making me on the other side of it is something I'm grateful for. Even though there's a video, I'm probably going to dig it out. There's no story without struggle. I wish I would have shown more of the real hard stuff. I know there's a video that I made of me on the mountaintop, shivering in the cold and the rain, before I had my Wi-Fi, not that far out of alcohol, still really dealing with withdrawal from antidepressants. And I want to make a flashback to that. I want to show that. It's something that's exciting about when I do finally make it back to the hometown to the client for a little while. Is I've been shooting content, maybe not as much as I'd like, but I've been capturing stuff along the way, and I've got a great story to tell. And I'll still try to get some of that done before I get home, but I think you're going to see a lot more videos that take less editing time and less passion, and have a little bit more of me just talking and interacting with you and giving some perspective and things that I've learned. And I'm always interested to hear what you guys think, because by no means have I hit a point of enlightenment. I feel like I'm growing and learning and evolving every day. And I just keep coming back to there's these four things, always eat right, always work out, never consume intoxicants, and always creating content. And if I do all of those things, everything else in life will fall into place, no matter how weird or wacky the world gets or what crazy current events are happening. So, all right, we'll jump over here. Let's see. Me, myself, and I. Yep, I'll be doing that. Got to Consumption Junction, incredible view. That's kind of funny. I mean, you can tell it's not more. It's pretty real. I got people walking by me all the time out here. Um, is this your only channel, or do you have others too? So I am the sole creator for the channel for one of my clients. It's all their stuff. It's all on big motorcycles. They also have about 3,000 followers. Big Dog Motorcycles. I believe it's Big Dog is Back. I'll try. Let's see if I can bring that up here. I think their channel's under Big Dog is Back. So it's a lot different. It's a whole bunch of motorcycle content that I create. I've gone to Sturgis and Daytona with these guys, and really in the last year, I've just been chopping up a bunch of old content and making low resolution vertical videos. You can see a part of a documentary on my channel for them that's in progress, that who knows if it'll ever get finished. And if it does, it's going to look a lot different than it does on my channel. So Big Dog Motorcycles on YouTube, I believe their Big Dog is Back. All right, let's see. Me, myself, and I, even without intoxicant problems, mental health is harder than ever. Fitness. I'll say it over and over again. There's a bunch of science that it produces a lot of great chemicals. Um, I've only done this a few times. Cold plunges, they really, really work for about 6 hours. They get all the dopamine going. They get you feeling good. But there's something so terribly valuable about pushing yourself consistently in the gym, on a bicycle, in yoga, swimming, whatever it may be. It does something. I mean, your body rewards you with good chemicals, and it's, for me, there was something in me, like I knew on day one, I was like, this is my new life. And I did a podcast about that a long time ago when I was still just barely getting started. I think it says life goals and has a pink background. If you want to see, look that up on one of my older videos. But that was the key. The gym was the thing that saved my life. The gym was the key to everything for me. The gym was what got me sober. And this all comes in different order for everybody. And, the gym is what has allowed me to acknowledge that the true authentic version of myself is, not being able to be the true authentic version of myself is why I had begun leaning so hard on alcohol and vices to make myself to escape a life that by the books was amazing, but to me was still unfulfilling and miserable. So, all right, let's see. We've got also want you to realize that showing any tears is a sign of a good man. Give your feelings and emotions freedom too. Well, thanks. I have a feeling it's part of me. I can't help it. It happens, and it's because there's purpose here. I that didn't happen when I was sitting in an office when I was producing videos for the government and for huge contractors like CH2M Hill and Bechtel and the the largest food manufacturer in America, Conagra Foods. All the they make pretty much everything that's in the grocery store, almost everything that's in that's like say Lamb Weston French fries, McDonald's French fries, Chef Boyardee, um, Healthy Choice, La Choy, everything. I used to work for these big multi-billion-dollar, multinational corporations in video production. Yeah, my emotions didn't come out then. All I did was I just sat there for 40, 60, 80 hours, maybe not quite 80, 65, 70 hours a week on salary, not getting paid any extra, just just being a robot for somebody else. And yeah, there wasn't any emotion then. And then I would come home and I would drink myself stupid while playing video games. Then I found cannabis, which I do wholeheartedly believe is far less bad than alcohol, but it's still not as good as sobriety by any means. And then alcohol and cannabis combined got worse and more to a point where the alcohol didn't even do anything except make me feel more depressed. I could just drink vodka like it was water. I mean, it was ridiculous the level that went to. Um, so let's see here. Would you recommend distancing yourself from how normal life runs these days, so to speak, to live without being saturated in what's considered normal? Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm in the middle of. I don't have TV. I don't play video games. I The only people I ever engage with are at work while I'm at work. I've chosen a path of solitude for the time being because I see there are people in this world who have elevated to the level that I'm working my way towards, and maybe I do belong at that table. I don't think that I have that I've accomplished enough yet, but I know that I'm on the way. So there are people that I am destined to be around that I don't yet quite belong around. And most normal people, even people with good careers and houses and everything, they don't see the world I see it in. You surround yourself with people that have a different vision of the world than you, then that's going to affect your vision. So to me, I think it's really important to be as far separated as possible from as many influences that are keeping us stuck in the direction that is not conducive to achieving that most true, authentic version of ourselves. So I absolutely believe in separating yourself as far as possible from anything and everything that isn't influencing you towards the best version that you're headed toward, the direction you're headed. So, and well, gosh, I'm well over an hour on this one, guys. It means the world to me that you came here to listen to me, that came here to talk, to ask questions, to give your insight, to give your feedback. It really does. I'll do more of these. I'll start to schedule them so you know when to meet up with me. I'll do them from mountaintops. I'll do them from wherever I get good Wi-Fi. I'll try it with the speaker there or the microphone, but I don't think that's the important part of it. Not of this. I don't expect these to ever get a huge amount of views. Maybe they will, but thank you guys for coming along, and I really do hope you check out the content that's been the closest to heart to me is as the Adventures of Mike G playlist, um, and that's right on the main page on my YouTube channel. So I'd love it if you guys came and checked that out. And let's see, I'm gonna head down here, see my last. Let's see, get enough sleep so you don't get drained down. Okay, yeah, yeah. I wake up at 4:45 every morning, and once I'm done with the beach job, it's gonna be 4 a.m. And it's interesting. By the books, I'm not getting enough sleep, but I don't really feel low on energy. I do consume a bit too much caffeine right now, and once I'm done with the summer beach job and able to get on a more consistent schedule, I will I'll probably be getting a little bit better sleep. At the same time I get up, I don't want to hit snooze because I've got a difference to make in this world and life's short. So, hey, Consumption Junction says thank you. Yes, thanks. Me, myself, and I, Consumption Junction. Everybody here, question the answers, following me since the beginning. And then I got to remind myself one more time how to say my other cool name, Delta KB, Delta KB. Guys, thank you for coming along. I'm gonna check out for now. Be sober, be fit. If you're struggling to know where to start, if you're struggling to figure out what to start with anything, just go do something to get yourself active. Get outdoors or get in the gym, get active, do it again tomorrow. Everything else will start to fall in place. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming along. Catch you next time.